Season 8, season 3. Oh, episode 8, maybe episode 9. Okay. We'll get it together. We'll post it. Unclear what it is. I believe it's season 3, episode 9. Super grateful to be here. We are deep into the season, and it's our first season where we're also on YouTube. So make sure that you're checking us out on YouTube in addition to Spotify and Apple. Let me think. What am I grateful for today? This heat. I'm grateful to still be alive given that it's really, really hot. I've been thinking a lot about, unhoused folks and even people who have housing but don't have like central AC or don't even have a window unit that's working, right? And are operating off of fans and are just, riding it out, sending love. And I hope we get, all of our stuff together to where we could provide housing for everybody. Everyone is deserving of housing. It is a human right. And I just think that that's where really I'm grateful for being able to have air, being able to have a house, being able to have a roof over my head, and just, you don't know what people are going through. Be kind to everyone. I have to remind myself constantly, be kind, Mary, be kind. You can be kind. Because, man, it's hot out here. You don't know what people are going through and what people have going on. And it's too hot to, be doing weird stuff. So, y'all, don't be weird out there. I wanted to first, on our first segment, Putting You On, share with you guys a couple of things. One, really exciting news that Henrietta Lacks, her family was able to win the lawsuit against Johns Hopkins, right? Johns Hopkins, I guess, took cells from Henrietta Lacks' body, cancer cells, or from the tumor, and they created a cell, HeLa, and then this cell then has been reproduced so many times, such so that they have been studying, they've been testing it, and they were able to this very racist system that actually didn't inform Henrietta that they were taking cells from her. They took cells from her without telling her, and then they tested, and were testing on these cells. We've gotten all kinds of things from the reproduction of that cell and the testing of that cell. Everything from polio, syphilis, COVID. And so her family just won that. And so peace to them. I hope that they're able to get some closure around this, because this is, I can't imagine having something from my body taken without consent, and to then serve others without my consent. And so peace to her and her family, and I hope that we're able to get closure, and I hope this very racist medical system is able to understand why we need to have consent over our bodies even when medical procedures are happening. We've seen this with not just cells in this way, right? Although this is a real notable one, but also the sterilization, of women and their bodies, not ever asking for that, but being able to see that there is a systematic way in which the medical system has not served us and has actually taken from us. So, I wanted to share that. Also wanted to share Mama Denise Graves. She puts out these, and I think she's gonna start selling them next week. Shoulder Ready is her her work is preparing us for. So Shoulder Ready, it says when we think about we stand on the shoulders of giants, right? She's saying, yeah, you need to get shoulder ready. You need to get prepared for someone to stand on your shoulders. And so she talks about strength, freedom, and leadership. And so really excited about this. I know she also has a campaign going on. Maybe we'll have to bring her on for this, around breathing for peace. And tells you how to breathe and how to start doing some good breath work. So peace to Mama Denise. We'll definitely be getting some shirts, and hopefully she can come on and talk about that. And next up we have Giovanni Vargas, a very renowned tour manager to the stars, everyone from Lil Wayne to Barbra Streisand. He is a native New Orleanian and just a really dope person. So I'm excited to talk to him because I often think that we don't know enough about, most times we think, oh yeah, Latinos just came over to New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. It's like, no, we've been here. And so we'll get to hear his story. His family's from Guatemala and Costa Rica. And so super excited to talk to him. We are here for my favorite segment, Black Love, Brown Pride, with Gio. Should I say Gio? Giovanni? Giovanni Vargas. Tour manager to the stars. And what else should I say when I introduce you? What do you think people usually leave out that you always want them to say and they don't say?
I don't know that they leave it out, but New Orleanian is definitely
Okay, so native New Orleanian. Yeah. Okay, I love that. You looking sun-kissed and like rested. What's happening? I just
left New Orleans for Napa for a week, and that sun was real. It's very real in California.
It was giving Blue Note.
It was giving a lot of Blue Note, and it was a fantastic weekend. Really, really good.
I love that. Did you have some wine out there?
I did. I'm not a big drinker, but I did definitely drink some wine. Some rosé, actually.
Had some pretty salads.
I drank Dwayne Wade Cellar's rosé.
How was that?
That's not a plug or anything like that.
That's not. He's not paying you.
That's what I drank.
He's not paying you.
No, not a penny.
Yeah, I love that. I love just Napa is beautiful. I feel like I bet it was super busy.
It was not as busy as I thought. It was, I was telling Nate that it wasn't the biggest festival, that there is, but I think that.
But I mean, like getting into restaurants and stuff.
Not even.
Really?
No.
Was there just like
same
a
day
sea of black
reservations?
people all over this? No.
It was a lot of black people around. It was definitely the crowd at the festival.
It was given melanated.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that.
It was a different Napa. That's what we were.
Okay, come on. It was a colorful Napa. Well, welcome back to New Orleans. I was gonna say, are we uptown? No, we're not uptown. I'm used to being uptown. But yeah, I just want to welcome you, and also I feel like we always get started with talking a little bit about community, but because we always anchor in ancestry, we like to think about who our ancestors are and like who perhaps even in the music world or in your family life, who do you think, who are the shoulders that you stand on and whose spirit do you bring to this work?
My grandfathers are pretty, that's the obvious answers, but my grandfathers are pretty, pretty big visionaries in my eyes in terms of being able to lay the foundation for a different upbringing. And so they're pretty much at the crux of it. And then, raising in New Orleans, I think it was a really, really impactful thing. And I think that also seeing the diversity in New Orleans, even though it's not the hugest Spanish community, I think that it's a very diverse community. And so I got to see a lot of different Spanish music, from the Dominican Republic, from PR, from Costa Rica, obviously, from Guatemala, with marimba and
I think
Panama.
marimba is so dope.
Oh, it's amazing.
I think marimba is, I guess, xylophone.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you would say? But just the connection of that and like steel pans and, just how you connecting just the indigenous and the African, and I don't know. I love it. I feel like I would have a marimba band if I got married tomorrow.
Nice.
I would.
They're big.
Yeah, I mean that would be like my little dinner time, situation.
I've, regrettably I haven't been to Guatemala in like 20 some odd years.
Oh, you have to go.
I know.
Yo, it's lit.
I hear it from my mom a lot.
So your mom is from Guatemala?
Mom is from Guatemala. My dad's from Costa Rica.
And your dad's from Costa Rica. Where in Guatemala and where in Costa Rica?
La Ciudad, which is Guatemala City. And from my mom, my dad is from San Rafael de Heredia.
Where is that?
It's in the mountains of Costa Rica, like 30 minutes out of San Jose.
Oh, cute. I love that.
Oh,
like going up towards, what's the... Oh, you don't know. Okay.
It's north to south or east.
But about
west.
30 minutes from
west.
the city.
It's about 30 minutes from the city, yeah, absolutely.
Yo, okay, heard. Okay, so you carry your, you said your grandfather.
My grandfathers, and
on both sides.
Yeah, just because of, what they did to get us here. I think that they had a bigger vision.
When did they come and they came to New Orleans? Do you know?
Yes. My dad's father went to Los Angeles first, so he grew up in LA. Okay. My mom's family, her dad came when I don't even remember how old she was. I know I've heard the story, but I know he came, and then several years later brought my grandmother. No, my mother and her oldest brother, and then the rest of the family came like a year later.
So you think that was like in the 70s?
They came... My mom came in 70, for sure.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So like 70, like not 79, but...
She came fresh with the bell bottoms and everything. Like,
I love that. You know why I love that? And I love like just kind of trying to figure out and remember what our migration stories are, because people just think we popped up on the scene in New Orleans like in the last 10, 15 years. It's like, no, we've been here.
Oh no, look, my mom's been here, my dad's been here. They met at my grandparents' restaurant. And that's how we ended up together.
We're giving business, entrepreneur.
They did it.
Okay, where was the restaurant?
Mid-City on Canal and something. I forget what it was. I forget what it was.
And what kind of, it was like Central American food?
It was not. It was like a New Orleans restaurant that my grandmother had worked at, and then my mother worked there and my dad worked there.
Wow. And then your dad bought it?
No, my dad worked there.
Oh, and your dad worked there. Yeah. Got it. Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, I think that people usually think, and this is why I love this conversation, especially from people who are native New Orleanians, because I feel like we don't remember our stories, and this is a part of like, just being able to like keep the history, So you got to go back and ask some of those good questions.
I mean, I think that right now more than ever, we're seeing a lot of history being reshaped, and so being able to get the actual stories from, the horse's mouth, if you will, is a really important thing to me.
Yeah, and record it. I can tell you, as someone who is trying to, I'm like, I don't remember all of my mom's stories, and now I just be recording stuff. I'll be like, can you say it again into the phone, please? So when you think about that time that, you were kind of coming up, do you have siblings?
I have an older sister, 3 years old.
Okay. I would love to just hear about like your upbringing and like what like when you think about family parties or even, just beyond family, what was your first time really feeling like, oh yeah, this is the community that I'm a part of?
Well, so a lot of my youth was really in Kenner.
Okay.
And there was a really big, or Kenner, just because it's a small city, to have so many Latinos in Kenner made it seem like it was a little Spanish city. And so the Mensaje Festival, I don't know if you've heard of this one, but it was a festival put on by the church. Padre Pedro, actually, and he did it every year in Kenner, and all the Latinos went there. I mean, thousands and thousands of Latinos.
What was it called?
Mensaje.
Mensaje.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a big thing.
Which is message.
Message, yes, message.
Oh, what was the message?
Well, it was a
it was a Catholic
message. Yeah.
Okay.
But what it did was it opened up vendors by country. So you were able to get the typical food from Costa Rica, Panama, Puerto Rico, Honduras, obviously, and then you were able to see musicians and bands both from the church, but also from countries. And I'm going to tell you, Nate don't know this one, but I was actually I danced at Mensaje.
You danced?
Yeah.
Where were you dancing? You were like a...
We are not going to find this video. But
Nate is pretty good at finding
my
shit.
Cousins, my two cousins and I don't even know why I'm saying this, but my two cousins and I danced Rhythm is a Dancer at Mensaje Festival.
How does that go? Rhythm is a dancer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your boy did that, Nate.
What were y'all wearing?
We were wearing matching Jordan black Jordan shirts and some like denim shorts. We thought it was so cool though. It was it right there.
You thought you were hitting
Sahi Festival. It was like, come on now. We
on the main stage.
Main's the only stage.
right.
That makes it the default main stage. But yeah, no, it was a a really good festival that showed the Latino community and it highlighted it. And so it got a lot of diverse attendance, like a lot of white crowd, a lot of Asian crowd, a lot of black crowd, clearly a lot of the Hispanic crowd, but it was really, really big for most of my
Padre Pedro, what's up? Where you at? Where is Padre Pedro?
I think he's still doing mostly not PBS or like local cable access.
Oh, he's a real person.
Oh yeah, no, he's you would always hear Ya Llega on the radio, which meant the festival is coming.
Oh, Ya Llega.
Yeah.
Yo, so if we started a new festival and
the
came up with the Ya Llega,
people would be like, what?
What? Not Mensaje.
Yeah, we can't be Padre Pedro. We can't do that.
Okay, yeah. We're going to invite him to come on, to be on the tickets.
Yeah.
To be the, I don't know.
The special guest. He might be able to dance too.
Right. Now, if he wants to cut, we're gonna have to have a different conversation. We might bring him in.
Yeah.
But okay, I love that. So you are from Guatemala, Costa Rica, New Orleans. How do you think that? I mean, okay, so all of that is happening. You're coming up in schools. You grew up in. You said a lot of your time was in Kenner. You got to high school, Bonneville, and how do you then decide, I think I want to start doing music? Touring?
No, touring wasn't it. I think it was just music. And then I was kind of open-ended. I just wanted to do music. I wanted to be around music the whole time. I wanted to kind of surround. I knew that in my mind. I wanted to do best.
And you understood that you could do that as a career?
No.
Okay. Because I'm like, dang, that's pretty bold as a child to be like, oh yeah, I'm about to just do music.
I'm not the most faith driven person, like the most religious person, but I've always had personal faith, and I saw that as being a really important thing, and so it's kind of driven by that
drive.
I've had a lot of drive. Yeah.
Okay, then what's your how do you then get to your first job?
Touring or just in general?
No, in general.
Right before Katrina, I had reached out to record labels. I saw that some people were doing it, like Leo Getz, Tito Miranda, who are both local good friends of mine, and I saw that they were doing things with record labels, and I saw the opportunity for me to do something like it. And it was right at the time when the reggaeton movement was starting to really pick up, and so I reached out to a few people. One of them being Melissa Giles in Miami, who was she owned a all-female street team, and she was 18 years old. And so I read up about her, then I emailed her, and And so I just started doing
What
guerrilla
are you
street
saying
marketing.
to these people when you email them?
I read my dad actually gave me the magazine. She was in like a Hispanic business magazine somewhere back. But I just kind of reached out and I'm like,
People
I
don't
do
know
this
how
in
to
New
do that
Orleans.
now.
Yeah.
So I feel like, tell us what you said.
Just reached out, just was like, hey, I do this in New Orleans. I'm trying to, bring some of whatever's being done in Miami or all the major markets here to New Orleans. And so street marketing was one of those things where I saw, in other cities you'd see, sniping, handbills, things like that, flyers, outside of venues. And so I kind of wanted to do the same thing. So I started doing promotions for House of Blues for free tickets in college.
Because that was the like first, I feel like, my first understanding of promotions, right? Is like radio stations saying free tickets and come get your free tickets. And I'm like, where is the radio station that you would, and I'm from LA. So like, it's not like the radio station is up the street, it's like, you going to Hollywood to pick up your ticket. And I just think that's like wild to go from just someone who loves music to like, now you're in it.
Yeah, no, I mean it was a path, unguided path, but it was definitely something that was just like I said. I just wanted to be surrounded by music, and guerrilla marketing was my first, my first trial at it. And Melissa connected me with somebody named Power, still a good friend of mine, and he was doing marketing for EMI Latin. UBO urban box office, and they were doing a lot of the reggaeton stuff. And he was like, I'll send you a bunch of stuff for our artists, and it was reggaeton latino and Dono Más reggaeton latino, a group called LDA, Boy Wonder, like Fuego, all these artists. And so I would start posting stuff around the city, and then the promoters from Twiropa, who were just talking about, I was a big fan of like the space, and so I got a call from one of the promoters at their Latin night asking me if I'd be interested in doing flyering for a concert that he was doing, and so we did. And that concert, we showed up the night to see how we did, and it was a good turnout, but he didn't really understand the complexities of how to put the show together. Neither did I, but I was like, I'll help, so I just threw myself in there. And then the end of the night, I was getting asked if I wanted to be one of the promoters for the Latin night.
Wow.
And so that was really kind of the door opening for me to work in some kind of live music, because it was, it was DJ, but it was also, three other guys that were with me that wanted to do something different. And that was kind of like the idea behind the space of Twiro, was like create something different. And so we started putting in Latin live music, not just the DJs. So I got to then produce live music events, or small live music events. And that led me into, bigger concerts at Twiropa, and then promoting bigger stuff, promoting Essence Music Fest, promoting, liquor brands, if you will. And then bigger concerts led me to festivals led me to touring. But that's the short version, but that's kind of the way.
Yeah, that is what's up. Wow. Yeah, I feel like so many people, again, still now are like, how do I do it? And it really probably is just like the emailing, the follow-up game, and then when you show up, make sure you are showing fully up, right?
I think it's the third one. I think it's the show up. Like, doesn't matter if you know who's watching you or not, but like just doing everything that you can, regardless if it's in your job description. That was kind of my thing. It was like, I got paid to promote that event, but he needs help, so I'm gonna just show up and do it.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the mindset that I've always had. Is like, I'm gonna do all of it, and if I learn something, then cool.
And were you really into Latino artists or Latin artists at that time?
Yeah.
Or okay, so you were,
yeah.
In fact. Who was kind of like the people that you were vibing off of? I feel like in LA, like it was a thing, but it was more like my parents, It wasn't necessarily like I was still listening to hip hop and stuff that was kind of like on top 40 radio stations.
No, like, you know, the question of my community, I did think about me being like knee height, knee level, or something right above the knees. Because I remember being in my uncle's house and like super loud merengue, and everybody's dancing in this small apartment, and I'm just walking by people's knees, and all I hear is loud music, and that was really good community for me because it was like, oh, it's, you know, community to have a good time, to enjoy ourselves. But I would listen to a lot. Like I'm a big old school salsa head. So oh hell yeah, gran combo, pardon my language.
No, you can hit it.
I can no. Gran combo.
I love gran combo.
I'm a big fan of like Willie Colon. Willie Colon. You know, Ruben Blas is like my.
Oh, so you're like, you love Puerto Rican artists.
Well, Ruben is from Panama.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, but like Juan Luis Guerra, I love. You know, I used to listen to some Eros Ramazzotti back in the day. You know, reggaeton wise, I was, you know, kind of opening the doors to Calle Tres. I promoted his first album, so it was like
cute.
It was like Calle Tres is kind of like in the vein of like The Roots. Talib Kweli in terms of content, and so that was where I was in terms of what I was listening to was Wu-Tang, a lot of East Coast hip hop, and then that kind of led me into, you know, reggaeton had an East Coast flair to it from New York, and so naturally just kind of went into some of that reggaeton. But I'm really, really a big old school salsa merengue head.
And I grew up more like on cumbias. And I mostly remember, I feel like cumbia, salsa too, but it was like but I would not know the names of any of these people, you know,
except for Carlos Vives.
Yeah, who is that? No. Oh, is it cumbia? Shit, I don't know. No, I feel like cumbia, I know Sonora Dinamita, or I knew that growing up. Right, like now I know a lot more artists and I know their names, and you know, but I feel like if I'm talking about now, like bachata is my, like, you can't tell me anything about bachata, like Dominican, you know, like not from anywhere else, or you know, I feel like I need to hear like old school bachata, and I'm really into like the Beso Pluma, the what's the other guy's name?
That's really the only one I know.
Something Cano. It's wild that I'm now seeing, I feel like, people like Bad Bunny doing features on like Grupo Frontera, and people who I'm just like, I've never heard these people, but like how they got a Bad Bunny feature is
brilliant, though. It's really, really brilliant. I was at Coachella when he came out, or they came out as a guest of Bad Bunny's, and I was just like, man, this is a Grupo Frontera. Yeah. And I was just like, man, this is a moment.
First of all, that song
is a moment. It's a huge hit.
And to me, that just lets me know that Bad Bunny is hella smart, and he knows like where he needs to capture the audience, you know, and where the kind of like movement is going. And it's like, okay, of course, I already have like Caribbean, Puerto Rican, you know, and in general Latino audience, but I for sure need Mexican folks.
Oh, absolutely. No, and I think he caught it right before it really, really blew up, or he may have even helped it, you know, with its stature a little bit. But I mean, that's all you see. Like if you go, I was going through the Billboard Instagram, and a lot of this stuff is on, or Billboard Latin, and a lot of this stuff is on regional Mexican, because of how it's selling right now. Yeah,
it's huge, and I feel like most of those people, like Grupo Frontera, the other guy, Nathaniel, Beso Pluma, they're all from Sinaloa, and I'm like, yo, I need to. I don't know if I need to pull up to Sinaloa, but I feel like I want to go see what's up, you know? I need to go to Culiacan. And,
I'm trying to see it. There was a festival in L.A. called Bésame Mucho.
Okay.
It was all Spanish. Everybody's Spanish. And it was like 80% Mexican.
Yeah, I need to get. I wouldn't know what to wear though. I need to get my,
That's when you guys show up like Mexican Coachella right there.
Right. I need to get my. I've been seeing some of the outfits, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't know if I can pull that one off, but I need the little,
I don't have no cowboy boots, so that's
right. Yeah. Like I definitely need the pants, and the hat. So yeah, I feel like that's definitely what I'm vibing on now. Why do you think it seems like there was? So talk to me about, is it Twi Ropa? Ropa. Okay, sorry. Tell me about that and about that time, because it seemed just so vibrant and like.
So Twi Ropa was a factory. It was a twine rope and paper factory that. And
it's Twi Ropa.
Twi Ropa, yeah. So twine rope paper.
That makes a lot of sense.
And so, early college years, I started to hear about it, even though everything around it, like the streets, Chapatulas and I think it's Orange Street at the time, or one of those.
So
they were all under construction. I was first year of college.
Okay. Where did you go to school?
Tulane.
Got it.
Hated it.
Hated it? Wait, okay, because I was about to say, how are you coming from Kenner all the way into the city? Like, to me, I would just think it's...
My mom worked for Tulane Medical.
Oh,
so
got it.
We got the help on that one.
Got it. Oh, yeah. Well, that's exactly where you were.
Well, we would have gotten the help, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly where you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is where you're going.
Yeah, no, you don't have another choice.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chapatulas and...
So yeah, so both of those streets were under like construction, so it was really hard to get to Twi Ropa. And I had heard about it, kind of passed by on my own, and I started to kind of like do a little bit of research on it. It was owned by two guys at the time, a guy named Angel Collazo, which is a Puerto Rican guy who used to live in New Orleans, now moved back to Puerto Rico after Katrina, and then a doctor, which I'm blanking on his name. But both of those guys bought the building, and it was a 4-story high building. And it had on the base floor, it had a room that was for about 800 people, middle room that was for about 400 to 500 people, and then the back room, which is 2,200 people. So we had a lot of space to work with, and so I started going to a few of their nights, and a night called Kepasaki, which was a sake night.
Kepasaki?
Kepasaki. It was kind of like his flow on like Kepasaki.
Okay, a little sake in my cup.
I did not know what sake was when I went the first time, and it was a rough night for me.
Yeah.
It was rough.
Ooh.
But I made it, and then
was it warm or
it was warm.
Oh, okay.
Again,
yeah.
the thing I did not know.
Yeah, you were unclear when you took that first sip.
I was unclear after the last sip too, because it was rough. But yeah, like I said, the concert that I promoted was at Twi Ropa. It was Jorge Moreno, and so when they approached me about being involved with their Latin night, that's when I was like fully involved. I was going to their ladies' night, which is Thursday night, 80s night, and then I was doing their Latin nights on Saturdays every Saturday night. So it was all the both rooms, and then on some nights we would have concerts. Like we had Fulanito, where we had the Latin night in the two, and then Fulanito in the back. So it was like huge, Latin nights. It was like 2,000 people
and
a night.
Who was coming? Wait, how many people in there?
On our big nights, it was like, I remember it was like almost 3,000 people.
Wow.
On our, like regularly, it was.
And this was like a weekly?
Every Saturday.
Wow. Okay, where are those people?
I think the.
I'm like, we need some members,
yeah,
bro.
No, I mean, one.
Where are the.
Now, let's just say it's 20 years ago. So,
yeah.
So I think that's, we're a bit older. And then some people left after Katrina and did not come back. And then...
Do you feel like that was significant also for like JP, Kenner?
The club?
No, like... I'm sure those people were coming into the city.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying, do you think those people also left after Katrina?
I think so. I think some of them did, but I think the demographic changed. And there was after Katrina, there was a bigger worker crowd here.
Yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily as tropical, if you will, and so it changed up the demographic and how.
Okay, so now we're talking. Let's piece this out a little bit, because what I'm hearing is some class stuff, right? Like, whereas before the people they were tropical people. They might have had some linen in their closet, and they had the time to perhaps, go and every weekend kind of dance around and hang out. Versus what I heard you say is also like right now there's just a lot of families, a lot of like folks who are workers who are working in construction, and they may not have that.
Yeah, I think that there was more family, and so there's less. That's not as much of it. Like definitely wasn't our crowd at Tour Rope. It wasn't the families, or the crowd that was over 40 something. Like we had a very diverse age crowd too, but I think that it was in terms of tropical, it was more. There was a very big Puerto Rican, Venezuelan, and Mexican. Like a big group of those from Puerto Rican, Venezuelan, and Mexican going to Loyola, like huge.
Oh, wow.
And so a lot of those people came to those nights.
Oh,
so it was
it was also super young.
It was young. It was college, very college, but we were sticklers for what you dressed like.
Okay.
For that night specifically, we were sticklers for it, and so it attracted.
And just in general, I do
crowd.
remember that time. Like you had to, on the flyer, it was always dressed to impress.
We didn't even put dress to impress. We were just like at the door, and
they knew
I was a guy telling them like, nah, you can't come in with that. It was just we wanted to give, like I said, something different. And giving live music, we wanted to give people a different
vibe. Could women come in with flats? No, I'm playing.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, it was really a men's thing. Like you couldn't come in with sneakers. You couldn't come in with you had to come in with some type of button up or something like that.
Right, with the stripes on it.
Some stripes. What was that? The Express shirt.
Right.
Everybody with the same Express shirt
with a little shiny, little shine on it.
And then as the years passed, a couple of the guys with the cuffs that had the flower stuff on the inside. But it was a phenomenal time. Like it was really, really. I think in general in New Orleans, like that was a period where musically there was something akin to like a renaissance. It was very diverse. You
said this is 20 years ago. So 20 years ago, you would have also had. Oh wow. For the 99. Wow.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Bounce music, bounce music was really making different waves. Reggaeton was making different waves, so the club atmosphere was changing. Like I said, it was just a very diverse crowd. Like we had a lot of white, a lot of black, a lot of we had salsa lessons before the night, so we had a very heavy college diverse crowd that would come for the lessons, and then after that everybody just poured in until about 2 a.m, and then we stopped letting people in.
Have you been to a concert or something where people can pull like a 3,000 Latinos at a night recently here in the city?
No.
I do.
I'll say that 3,000 was on when we had a big concert. On average,
I feel
we
you could have the biggest concert right now. But I do remember that I think Los Tigres del Norte came not too long ago, last 6 months, and I think there was a lot of people there, but I wasn't.
Is that in Smoothie King or was that?
I think it was Smoothie King, yeah. And I feel like it'd be hard. Like it's just not somewhere where you would have a big act come on a tour, right?
I mean, in general, I think New Orleans is a bit of a hard market for some touring.
Even in the English market or the kind of hip hop,
we get skipped a whole lot.
Why is that? As someone who probably creates the tour.
I think one is disposable income, and then
you would not think of New Orleans and people in New Orleans as having disposable income.
Not as much as other markets.
Got it.
And then I also think. New Orleans is kind of a hard market for anybody to come touring because there's music everywhere. Everywhere you go, and it's typically for free.
And you can get it for free, right?
You know, so if you go somewhere, you can get it for free. Why pay for it?
Right.
You know, and you know.
And I think it's also probably connected to like the media. Like we don't have great. I feel like you're not gonna get something in the LA Times that says this big artist is here. It's like WDSU is gonna write about you. Like,
yeah, I mean, you know,
no shade, WDSU.
Like we love it.
Right.
No, it's just a little bit tougher here on all sides. I think that even as like the crowd, you know, people have definitely said in New Orleans,
your ass.
they will let you know.
Straight.
You know, people are gonna let you know exactly how they feel about the show, even if it's not during the show. Sometimes that review from people is gonna be horrible.
Yeah.
You know, they're just tough on music. You know, like music, and I attribute a lot of that to the humility that a lot of our musicians have. You know, so you can see Tank, or you can see Troy, Trombone Shorty, or Reggie Nicholas as a Grammy award-winning engineer. Now, like, you can see these people on the streets or at the bar down the street or anywhere, and it's like just running a very easy conversation. Yeah. See, that's what I mean. Right. You know, and so I think that
buying regular shit like fruit,
we need it. But that kind of attributes to there being like this. You know, you got high expectations, or you're gonna have high expectations of people.
Yeah. Right. Your personality's got to be right. You got to be humble. We got to feel like you're an around the way person, and your music better be good.
Like even Beyonce, I think the last time Beyonce came here on for a show, she had she posted pictures of people while she was driving by, like just random people, and I think that helps to get some sense of humility. Like I've been out there in the streets, I've been watching, I've been participating. So I think that things like that help. But it's, in general, New Orleans is just a tough market for live music. That, I mean, Peso Pluma had a good crowd, but it wasn't the best.
He was
crowd.
here?
Yeah, he became a Smoothie King.
How did I not know this?
Because of the media you're talking about.
OMG, when was this?
This was 3 weeks ago.
I know you lying.
No, he was there.
I know you lying. Did you go see it?
I was out of town.
Wow.
Yeah. Go figure.
Why did no one hit my phone?
Nate, we had to work on it, baby.
I know. We got to get Nate up with the... Oh, might have to follow Smoothie King on Twitter or something. On X. Because this is crazy. Not 3 weeks ago. I would have been there.
3 weeks ago. I think it was 3 weeks ago, yeah.
That's terrible. I don't feel good about this anymore. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, I really don't feel good about this. Okay, so you are like a renowned tour manager? Is that what we say? Is that the word?
Yeah. I don't know about renowned, but I'll definitely take
you
the
are
tour
definitely
manager.
Renowned. Like you are.
Now.
Okay, so let's get into it so that people get clear on the renowned part, and maybe you get some clarity on that too. Okay, so tell us the artist. What does that even mean? And then we'll get into the artist.
The tour manager handles a lot of, if not all, the logistics for a tour. Be it...
that means that brain be working, bruh.
Yeah, it's like always going. So like, flights, hotels, ground transportation, advancing shows, which is preparing the show before you get there.
Similar to advancing in the political world.
Indeed. Well, I don't even know advancing in the political world, but yes. Let's just say
Yeah. And similar to like how people should, if you work for somebody, like just advancing for anybody.
This would be great, yeah.
You have to know how to do advanced work. If you don't know how to do advanced work, I feel like you need to get a training. And maybe we should start providing trainings on what advanced work looks like.
We've been talking about that.
Because let me tell you something. A lot of people just are unclear on what that means.
Yeah, no, look, I was taught very early on that the advance was the most important thing.
The most important. And that's what I know from the political world. And I could tell if someone doesn't know how to do advanced work. I'll be like, what is happening here? They're unclear on what should, like, who is my point person? Who is, what does it look like? Like, did we run it? What is the run of show? Like, we have to know these things, Yeah,
no, look, like I said, it's the biggest part for me personally is the advance, is getting to know, everything.
Drop a little gem. What's the 3 biggest things to advance? doing advance work in your world? It don't have to be in a particular
Arrival,
order.
I think, is how to arrive or where to arrive is a pretty big thing. I think that advancing like dressing room hospitality is a pretty big thing. And then so there's a tour manager and the production manager side. The most important, in my opinion, is the production manager's advance with the venue, advancing all the technical stuff.
Got it.
So that's what I would say the three main things are. Is for me, it's more so on the, figure out the dressing room hospitality stuff, and then how are we getting to wherever we're going? Where do we enter? Things like that. Just because it seems like very, kind of minuscule ideas,
and if your star or the person you're taking looks stupid and like you don't know where you're going, you trying to go in through the front door, it's really the side door. Now you got to walk past all these people. You look like a dumbass,
Even if you're not driving, you're like, well, Gio, how did he not know where he's going, or she not know where she's going?
It is so terrible, and and it can really create safety issues. And so for me, I always think about like, what are the safety issues? And obviously in the political world, you're also thinking about like, when you look dumb, like I certainly don't want to hire you and elect you to be anybody for me. So
I'll give an example, and I haven't told anybody this example just because there was no reason to tell, but there's a really quick example of advanced work where I can say it's a little bit of a drop the ball, but I was with one artist in South America, and we had advanced a police escort from the hotel to the venue. So we get there, we go downstairs, we got the police escort, we got our vehicles, we get into our vehicles, the police escort starts taking off. It's going really slow. It's just like really slow. I'm like, yo, we gotta go. Like, I'm telling the driver, because we're in South America, I can communicate with him. Hey, then okay, we gotta go. He's like, yeah, we're following the escort. I'm like, can you tell them that we gotta go? So I think it was Argentina. I guess this is part of where the advance is so important, is that I didn't advance with the police, but our security did, and he didn't know that the police escort can only go 30 kilometers per hour.
Oh, wow.
So you are going slow. So when you talk about like a safety issue, I'm like, well, if you're in a police escort, you're not surrounded by police. You're just being led and followed by police. And so anybody could, come up to the car. It was in Brazil. That's what it was. Anybody can just come up to the car, run up to the car. If you're going 20 some odd miles an hour, they can run up to it. And then secondly, it just it's not safe, and so that's one moment where the advance kind of went under the radar and something slipped. But it's just super important, because then you have an artist or artist security or artist manager looking at you like, why would we even get an escort if we can go faster than this?
Yeah.
So that's just one example of like the importance of knowing what you're getting into by the advance, asking all the questions and all the answers.
Yeah, and asking all the questions beforehand, and while it's just you and somebody else, so you don't look crazy in front of your boss.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you're doing all logistics, all running all of those things. Your first artist is who? Is it? You're still in the Latino world?
The first tour management artist that I did was the Urban Box Office in Draft compilation, which was a bunch of reggaeton artists throughout the East Coast. And there was LDA, Don Omar, Fuego, and a couple other ones. I forget the other ones.
Don Omar is...
Yeah, Don Omar is that guy.
He's Don.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the first actual one that I went. The guy Power, who I had spoke about earlier, Cuban guy, he called me about a month after Katrina, and he's like, man, are you okay? And I'm like, well, I ain't got nowhere to live. I don't have a job. I don't, you know what I'm saying? So 2 days later, he flew me to New York. 2 days later, he flew me to New York, then flew me to Florida, started touring.
Wow. That's a blessing.
Kind of just put it in my hands, and that
Dang.
was it.
Shout out to Power.
Shout out to Power.
I will never forget Power for
that. Because
come on, Brother Power still live in the city?
He was in New York. Now lives in San Fran, I believe, and is a photographer.
Oh, okay.
But he's definitely a brother from another mother because he looked out for me in a way that nobody did.
I love that. So then you're with Don Omar. First of all, Don Omar is fine as hell. Like you're with Don Omar and his beautiful ass, brown ass skin and that and you know his vibes. Like he's that dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like and he's like you know. Shout out to Suave too, but he's like for real Suave. You know, like he that guy.
I was gonna say is the equivalent of when Fat Joe called himself Don Cartagena. That kind of thing. Like very just prestigious type dude. Yes,
but just like in him, you know. So you're with him, and then you're like, okay, I made it.
No, I mean this was. Yeah, there was some.
Because it's kind of your first gig, but at that point you're not like, oh shit, I'm in it.
No, like I knew it was an opportunity. That's kind of where I was at. Like I knew it was an opportunity, and so I didn't know what I was doing. You know what I mean? Like I've never tour managed, never, done that in my life. It was just an opportunity that I had, and I kind of.
But now it runs like clockwork.
I tried to think about it that way.
Okay. So give us some names of other since Don Omar, which is an excellent start.
Yeah, it was so then I started with Lil Wayne in 2009.
Oh, this is where the renowned part starts, y'all.
Excuse me.
Go ahead. So you said Lil Wayne?
Yeah.
Okay.
A woman named Tina Farris asked me to come on tour with her on the Lil Wayne tour, I Am Music tour, I think, if I remember correctly. So Lil Wayne, and then I did a Japanese rock group called X Japan, which is like the Asian equivalent of U2. Huge band. I did
U2.
Yeah, like U2.
Oh,
band.
yeah.
So it's like that in
got
Asia.
It.
I did.
Where did y'all tour?
In the U.S. Their first U.S. tour.
Oh, okay, got it. Dope.
It was a weird one. Feel free to look up X Japan in the 90s and in the 2000s for all that matter. But I did them, and then did Nicki Minaj. I did Solange. I've done. We did the Wayne and Drake tour. Did the Outkast reunion in 2014. Wow. Natalie Merchant from the 10,000 Maniacs. I did her tour. I've done Usher. I've done Playboi Carti for the past 5.5 years. Did Lil Uzi Vert. Fleetwood Mac since 2012. Barbra Streisand since 2012.
Wow.
Currently, just wrapped the tour with Lil Nas X.
Wow.
That we did since September of last year. And then right before that, I did a few runs with the Rolling Stones. So
amazing. Congratulations.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Come on. Your parents met at a restaurant on Canal.
I mean, look, the universe,
Yes, that is so amazing. Okay, how? I'm guessing you signed NDAs with all these people. So, you're like, nope. Nope. Okay, wait. So tell me. So I would probably. I'm not like I don't fangirl out. But mostly because I like to just chill and like watch people. You don't seem like the type that's ever gonna fan out.
It was one time Lionel Richie. Just because
I
didn't know he was next to me. I didn't, Consuela. I was talking to Consuela on stage somewhere at Essence. So I'm talking to her, and she's in like all white, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm like, what are you doing back here?" She's like, "Oh, I'm some background vocals." I said, "For who?" She pointed, Lionel was right there, and I was like,
It took your breath away a little bit?
It took my breath away. I just wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
He was like...
And he's probably really short, huh?
No, he's
not?
He's about my height.
Oh, okay.
He's about my height.
I would think that he seems like kind of, petite, tiny. No. You're like, no, not at all. The man was standing next to me.
I interviewed for Lionel Richie's job, but I didn't get it.
Okay, so you're in an interview. How does it go? Like, both just who you have worked for, or...
So actually, that's the only one that I've interviewed for.
Oh, other ones are just like
other ones are
words of
like
mouth.
Through word of mouth, people hear about you or meet you, or I work for, like I said, Tina Farris has put me on. I worked with Sobert Mani, who's from New York, an Indian gentleman. I worked with him for 13 years.
So the world probably gets really tiny once you know everybody.
Kind of. Yeah, kind of. I mean, there's a lot of new faces popping up now, and I think that's for the better. But it is a very small, people know each other. People very much so know each other. And so I think that that's the communal part of the music business that I really do like, is that you can confide in certain people because you worked with them for years.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, so I want to know, why are you laughing?
I'm just waiting.
Well, I mean, okay, so you're with Lil Wayne, and he's like, oh yeah, you from New Orleans? You're like, yep. And do y'all have that conversation?
Mm-mm.
Okay, because I'm thinking, and I love you, Wayne, but there was a part, and I don't know when the time span of when you were, his tour manager, but at some point it seemed like probably Wayne was off doing Wayne stuff. And so how you then go from, because you're doing all the logistics for him, right?
So most of, I think there's also a closer team to him, like a day-to-day manager who will do,
and that person is got it.
Yeah, but we
so you're doing advanced work to the venues,
and their hotels and their ground transportation and their vehicle. and their flights and whatnot. But at some point you hand off to the internal team, and so they'll handle drivers. They'll handle some of the hotel advances. But in a lot of cases, unless it's ultimately necessary, I'm not really trying to have all that many conversations with the artist. I'd rather have them with their assistant or with their manager. I learned from the people that I work with a long time ago that we're replaceable. This is a job. These are not your friends. It's not to say you can't be friendly with them. Do your job, do it well, and you'll stay here. Don't try to be buddy-buddy, because that's when the lines get blurred and your job and, buddy kind of mixes in, and you.
Yeah. And so you're running around usually, like you doing your thing.
Yeah. I'm trying not to talk to the artist.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. I'm like, what would I say? I recently started, I was the person who, I told you I grew up in LA, and I grew up around all of these amazing people. I feel like I went to church and Brandy was sitting front pew, but I was never the person like, oh, let's get a selfie. And so I don't have any pictures of me. Have you documented your journey?
I haven't, but a few years ago, I would receive a picture or two from somebody, like a photographer I remember for Louisiana Fest, and then we did during the pandemic we did a thing with Live Nation called Crew Nation, where one of the teams that I worked with was Sobert Mani and another local Latino, Carlos Turcios, from New Orleans, Honduran and Guatemalan guy who works on our team.
What's up to?
Yeah, that's the homie.
Okay.
But
you gotta bring him to the next event.
Absolutely.
If he's around,
Yeah, he's a celebrity.
He
I'd love to hear that.
He might be with, I don't know. He's a tour manager.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
He might be touring with, who knows? Who's touring right now?
Beyonce.
He might be with Beyonce.
He tour manages Jill Scott and Big Boy.
Ooh, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
So, he's somebody that started here at House of Blues and security, then went to security in Houston, then became the operations manager after Katrina here in New Orleans, walked his way up, and then, we kind of started pushing him, and then I got him to come out with me on Outkast in 2014, and since then he's been with the squad.
So is this a young person's game? Like, do you feel like in some years, like, you'll have to tap out? And then where do you go next?
I'm still trying to figure out where do you go next. I'm in the process of that right now, because I also don't want to, like, sell my soul and work for whatever,
iHeartMedia or something.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. I shouldn't have said that, huh?
No, I mean, it is what it is. Like, I'm a pretty blunt person. Like, I don't care. Like,
yeah.
I didn't get jobs by kissing ass or, whatever. And so I don't necessarily care if... I have respect for any artist that I work for, so I'm not going to sit here and tell all the details about their lives. But I also am not employed by Live Nation or AEG or anybody like that. Oh, so I don't necessarily care, what a company like that thinks about me, because as long as I still get hired, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So you were doing tour managing. You also do like just kind of festival producing.
Yeah. After and before Katrina, before and after Katrina, I did a festival that started at Jazz Fest. I forget what year. I think 2002, 2001. I approached them. I had never done any stage work, and I approached them on kind of like a cold call. Heather Stam.
You were good at cold calling, huh?
Yeah, at that point I was really good. The follow-up is not my strength, but the cold call is I don't care who I'm talking to, so I'm going to talk to them.
Right.
But yeah, Patricia Hurtado and Heather Stam were running production under Reggie Toussaint, were running production for the festival, and they put me on the Gentilly stage, which is the smaller of the main stages, but still a main stage. And so I got to learn everything on there. So I did that one. I did Buku Fest for a bunch of years, still do. I did ACL for a couple of years. I did Hangout Music Festival from the very first year, Essence Fest, a bunch of other ones.
Yeah. And do you think that there's, this might be a business idea, but do you feel like there's a festival that's missing in a certain city? I feel like there's like specific festivals that are missing in certain cities for certain demographics.
I don't know. I mean, I think maybe, but I think we got to a point pre-pandemic where they were super saturated, and and then you see like a bunch of them getting acquired by AEG, by Live Nation, and so some of them are going away. Case in point, I think both Buku and Voodoo have gone away. So, I think that the market was really super saturated, or markets were really super saturated. But now that they're really paying attention, you're seeing like a bunch of festivals that are non-traditional. I guess you would call them non-traditional.
Like which ones?
Pop up. So the tour management group that I work with, D-Money, we're starting to work with Live Nation Urban now on all of their festivals. So what's the Her one? Is that Lights Out? No, I forget the festival that Her curates. But we're doing one music festival, Louisiana Fest, Strength of a Woman, Honeyland in Houston, Roots Picnic, Broccoli City in DC, Miami's Jazz in the Garden. So all of these we're now running artist relations for.
Very nice.
Oh crap, I forgot where I was going with this, my bad.
Well, you said something like, did you say alternative?
Oh, yes. So I was just saying that it was non-traditional.
Oh, non-traditional.
And so you're seeing festivals were really rock festivals, most of them. And then you started seeing things like Jazz in the Gardens or, Roots Picnic. Case in point, talking about Blue Note, is that they're catering to more of a black or brown demographic.
Yeah.
So I think that there are pockets. One music fest is like one of my favorite music festivals to go to. And so I think that you're seeing things like that. You're seeing things like Vibras. Have you heard of Vibras Festival? It's Miami and in Orlando, which is a reggaeton festival.
Oh, cute.
There's something in Mexico that J Balvin curated last year. Some other festival that he did there. There is the guy named Berto Solo who does a Latin festival in Chicago. So you're starting to see a lot of these things that make sense for what the markets actually look like. They're not just bringing music like rock festivals.
Yeah. My first festival that I went to was Reggae on the River. Have you heard of Reggae on the River? Have you been?
That's Bay Area?
It's like Humboldt. Is it Humboldt? No, it's like it's Northern California for sure, but I think it's below. It's like in the Redwoods, I think, right? I can't remember honestly. Like the last time I went was probably like 20 years ago. So yeah, that was my first festival.
Reggae on the River.
Reggae on the River.
First, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Humboldt.
Humboldt. I think it has to be Humboldt. Yeah. Because I know it's like the Redwoods is. So yeah, Reggae on the River, and so artists like Steel Pulse, any and every like big, like Capleton, like big artists are there, and then you're just like tubing on the river. So
I actually.
Don't break the stage now. Don't break the stage.
Do this right here. You reminded me of actually the first festival I worked was International Arts Festival in New Orleans City Park, Marconi Meadows, and Khalid. You know Khalid, right? Khalid was the first individual to give me a chance.
Khalid the artist?
No, a gentleman named Khalid who works, I think he still works with Jazz and Heritage Festival. But he was the first dude to give me an opportunity.
Oh, come on. Shout out to Khalid.
Amazing dude. Amazing individual.
I'm like the artist, like the singer?
No.
Isn't there a singer named Khalid? Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, listen, I feel like you don't know where it is next, so how do you figure it out? Part of this is also teaching the process of where do you go next?
I think now...
You said you're good at these cold calls and emails, so
I think it's knowing the SWOT analysis of it, like know your strengths and weaknesses.
Come on, listen. And does the SWOT analysis go through your head all the time?
Somewhat, I think.
Man, are you an organizer?
No.
Okay.
I mean, to a certain extent.
Yeah, you have to be. Listen, so anyone who knows anything about anything, SWOT is your strengths, weaknesses, threats, and opportunities. And it should revolve in your head at all times. You should be thinking about and it's just an amazing process of, thank you for sharing that, because I feel like this is a real, people should be thinking about this all the time. And it really teaches you, whatever is a threat, you better make that shit an opportunity, and you better figure out if it looks tight over here, that means there's a lot of space over here.
Yeah.
And said, okay, you're doing this analysis.
Well, no, I think it's just knowing what you're good at and knowing where your weaknesses lie, and so entrusting in others in places where you might be weak.
Well, give yourself some affirmation. What are you really good at?
I keep my calm. That's I've heard it a few times over the last bunch of years from other people, but I kind of felt it in my soul. That was like, you keep your calm really well. You don't trip out. I kind of like the fan. I'm not a fan over people.
Yeah. Or if things are falling apart, you're like, all right, cool, we're going to get it handled.
We got to figure it. It's like, the term is always the show must go on.
Yeah.
And it literally is, how are we going to make this happen?
Yeah.
And I think that's the job, is just figuring out how to make it happen. And, if you panic in any line of work, if you panic, the people who come under you or behind you are going to panic. If you don't panic, then people probably don't even know that there is something worth panicking of.
Yeah.
They don't even see it if you cleaned it up quicker than they can see it. So I think that is my...
What's your favorite cleanup where you're like, shit, we fucked up, and then you had to clean it up?
Like a moment?
Yeah.
Oof. I don't know that it's mine. We played Lollapalooza with Playboi Carti a couple of years ago, and again, it's not my F up, but he's late all the time. and he was playing direct support to the headliner, which was Miley Cyrus. So he was playing right before Miley, and he was running. He flew in late. The jet flew in late, and the drive was like 40 some odd minutes. He was going to be late to stage. He would have had all the vehicles have to go get bomb sweeps and then off site, and then they're allowed to come on site. So I was just like, you know, the buyers tripping out, the artist relations people were tripping out, you know, the security team is tripping out, and I'm like, let me not give them all the information. I knew how far he was, and then I said, right when he was about 4 minutes out, I said, I need a golf cart at your security entrance, like where the vehicles actually come in. I said, I don't want the vehicle to come in. I want it to go get swept, but I want the artist to get out, jump in the golf cart, and we go to the stage. And so I didn't give him all the information. I just said I need a golf cart. And so I took the golf cart, had the artist drop him off where I sent the drop point. He was on stage, I think 6 minutes late, where he could have been about 30 to 40 if he would have gone to get checked. So it's things like that, like thinking on your toes of like, you know, somebody else might be flipping out, but you got to figure it out. And
6 minutes on stage, that's a long time.
He was late 6 minutes, but they thought he was going to be late about 32 minutes.
Yeah.
Because they didn't think, why don't we just get him out?
Right.
Instead of having him go get swept, then just let him out of the vehicle at the security checkpoint and take him on.
You probably solved that.
So yeah, it's a lot of that. It's just, that's one of them.
Yeah. Okay, so Little Gio. Let's think back to Little Gio. You in your black Jordan t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
What do you tell Little Gio, like, thinking about yourself now? What would you say to yourself?
I have a couple of phrases that I always keep in mind, and I think if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Okay.
That's kind of the idea. Is like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, keep the faith. Luckily, I kind of had the faith already, but keep the faith. You know, that you're going in the right direction. You
would go back and tell Little Gio, keep the faith.
Mm-hmm.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
If there was a voice in my head, that would be what I would like to hear, to say to my younger self, is like, just reiterate that, because I think that that's probably what I was already thinking. It's like, I'm gonna do really well at what I'm good at. Like, I'm just gonna keep pushing. So don't let anybody tell you anything different. Like, don't let anybody sway you from that idea.
Yeah. So there's so many young people that want to get into the music industry, and they don't know the connection between, like, oh, you better learn how to make a spreadsheet. You know, you better learn how to, like, call, follow up, and, you know, you better learn how to do advanced work or any of this stuff. And I'm sure there's such we're just not in the music industry, and probably absolutely not behind the scenes, right?
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like you've met a lot of great people along the way who, you know, kind of made sure that you knew what you were supposed to be doing. And, you know, what would you say to any young person right now? And, you know, you talked to Little Gio. Now, what would you say to a young person in New Orleans that wants to get into the music industry? And maybe they don't have what you had, right? Because they don't know what they're good at.
Well, I didn't know I was good at that then. It was just kind of like, I just wanted to always be around music. So if it's something that, if it's something that you love, if it's something that you always want to be around, then I think it's always just push. Like, make it the place where you're always at. You know, I think that that's also a thing for musicians and performers in general, is like, there's no equation necessarily for, you know, what's going to make a hit or what's going to make a successful artist. It's an artist that is kind of determined on, man, my stuff is good, or my stuff is worth, you know, other people hearing, so I'm going to keep doing it. And the more I make, the more there's a possibility that there's something really good in there. And And so I think it's kind of that same mentality of like, by any means necessary, I'm gonna just keep doing what I keep doing. I love doing, you know, you think about musicians that love playing music, or they love, you know, being on stage and getting the reaction. I always say that, you know, one of my favorite moment is when you had just put the artist on stage and you kind of turn around and walk towards the office, and you hear just like a bunch of people screaming. I mean, thousands of people screaming, and it isn't for you; it's for the artist. But you got the artist a stage. There was a bunch of people that played parts that are integral to getting that artist on stage, or integral to getting the stage up, or integral to getting the audio or the video or the lighting up. And so it's, for me, being one of those people is really, really important. I think that that's, you know, why I appreciate being given a platform, or taking the platforms at times now of, you know, sharing a story, sharing my stories, because there really wasn't that before. I mean, there were people who were pivotal, Latinos here in New Orleans, who were pivotal for me, for music, and that's like DJ Nasty, who I'm sure you may have heard of, you know, rest his soul, but Tulio Murillo, who recently passed away, but he was the big Latin promoter in New Orleans. And so when a Latin concert came, I approached him about doing hospitality. So that was somebody that really opened up the doors for Latinos to actually have that chance. DJ Nasty is another one, but like, these guys were really, really important for allowing me to follow some type of, you know, goal in music, some type of anything in music, because, you know, I don't necessarily know that I would have had the around the black and brown thing, the cojones, to just approach the Jazz Fest if I hadn't gotten the try it out from Tulio, or try it out from DJ Nasty, or that I, you know, Sergio Cabrera from Mambo Mundo, or Eduardo or Angel Collazo would have given me the chance to do something at Twiropa. But it's not, you know, without seeing them, I wouldn't be here. I know that for a fact. Like, I genuinely know that seeing these people do their thing, be as professional as they are at their thing, affected the way that I do things. And so I would tell people that those are the really, really important things: is do what you love, do it well, and have your standards. Like, have some really good standards for yourself.
What are some of the standards that you're like, I abide by all the time? One, it sounds like, be more focused on your work than the artist.
Yeah, the artist is your work, but I mean, at the end of the day, there's more to what makes the show go up and down. You know, the set can be up and ready to go, but if they show up and something isn't right, you know, or like you said, that you don't know the directions on how to get there, because the tour manager didn't give the driver the right directions, then, you know, that can be a thing. But you know, I think, like I said, I just think that it's the opportunity that I was given, that I'd like to give other individuals who look like me, because, I mean, Nate knows this quite well. The touring industry has been a very white thing, and it's become a little bit more diverse. You know, there was the differences in between, like, white touring and then Al Heyman touring, you know, and you know, even Live Nation Urban, you know, and so it's important for me to see people that look like us get hired, given the opportunities.
Someone called me urban. Someone said I looked urban while I was in Aspen. I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
You're so ethnic. You're so ethnic.
Right. Yeah. But I don't want to go into the details of that, because I'll, you know, start going. But now, what do those people say when, like, they know what you're doing now? Are they super proud? Or do you feel like they don't know necessarily what you're up to?
Some of them do. Yeah, some of them do. I keep it very close. Like, I don't sit there and go, like, brag about what I do. Right. I have found the importance of being somebody who others see
Yeah.
to do it. Like they want to do it because they saw that another Latino can do it, and so that's kind of pushed me. I'm really an introvert, and so it's taken me a lot to get to a point of, you know, putting myself out there more. But I think that the introverted side of me helped to make who I am today.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, we are super grateful for you here. Thank you so much for being a part of our community, for sharing your story. It's not every day that we get to meet a tour manager to the stars. And, you know, sometimes we don't even know what's possible and, like, what jobs are out there, like how we can exercise you know, just our desires, our passion, our purpose. And we just love that, you know, you shared your story. We love that we get to learn from you. I think that there is, I can't tell you how many young people I've mentored, and they're just like, they want to do music, and they, you know, and I'm just like, I don't know enough about it to, you know, I definitely come more from like the political world than, I'm just like, yeah, I don't know what to do. But now we know that this role exists and all the other ones you described.
Yeah,
and
there's like so many others in the music industry that exist you wouldn't think. Dressing rooms, hospitality, you know, hair, makeup.
Yeah.
You know, ground transportation coordinators, like all these jobs you wouldn't think existed. Maybe other Latinos or other, you know, black or brown people don't necessarily know are out there, and giving them an opportunity to see it is like really, really important for me. And I know that it's really important to a lot of the people here in New Orleans that work in the industry, because we didn't get that opportunity early on. So now seeing the chance to give other people a job or chance to give another person a step up is like super, super, super important. We want to be, you know, a very diverse industry, not just diverse in our own markets.
Yeah. Thank you so much for telling your story.
Thank
you for being a part of our community. And we're definitely going to be calling on you to help us figure something out. I mean, can we put a festival together?
Look, we've been trying. We've been working on stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How much does it cost to like get permits and shit for a festival?
Depending on the size of it, but it's also kind of who you know sometimes with them permits right there. Okay. Like, you got to know some good people.
Start talking to some people in City Hall.
In City Hall.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I call him my brother Brent right there.
That's the first assignment. Well, thank you so much, and yeah, I feel like let's leave the people. I don't know. Tell us like what's in the most immediate future, or something. You know.
I got a 3.5-year-old son, almost 4.
Okay.
So a lot of it is spending time with him when I'm not on the road and raising him.
Oh, so are you on break right now a little bit?
I go out on Friday for 2 days, and I come back for 10 days. I go out for 3 days to Europe, and then come back, and then I'll be out for September, October, November.
Okay.
So the immediate future is
spending time with your son.
Spending time with him, spending time with my fiance Brandy, and you know.
Shout out to Brandy.
Shout out to Brandy. She holds down the fort, man, like, for real. But that's really where my mind is at, is spending time with the family, spending time with my parents. And
are your parents proud?
My mom.
Or how proud?
My mom was really worried about the sex, drugs, and rock and roll thing. You know, she cried when I was with Lil Wayne, thinking that I'm you know, in the worst space. And
what would she say in Spanish?
Ay, Dios mío, es que por qué, que usted no sabe que lo que puede pasar ahí afuera, las drogas, y ay, es que yo no sé, yo me preocupo, and I'm like, okay, mom, but you gotta chill. Then I got hired by Barbra Streisand, and it was crickets.
And she loved it, huh?
I'm talking about, that's her favorite artist, so I took her to a Streisand. I flew her out to Philly for our concert. It was over. Like, it was like, actually, before that, we went out to Voodoo Music Festival. I brought her and my dad out. And, you know, our shoulder mics is how we communicate. And so they saw when they came in, it was like, somebody for Gio. Somebody for Gio. Every 30 seconds, it was somebody for Gio. So, okay, we see what you're doing now. We're going to walk away. And I put them on stage when Snoop went on stage. I had him stage right.
I love that.
And so That was another moment when my mom was like, "Hey, I don't know, Giovanni. There's no security here, like, et cetera, et cetera." But man, Streisand called. It was like, "What? Okay, vaya pues, mijo. Ahí está."
Yeah, right.
She was like,
You're doing good. You're doing good, mijo.
He's good. Giovanni's good. He's doing what he loves. You know?
I love that. Well, thank you so much, and God bless your parents, man. And look, and you while you're on the rock and roll streets, you know.
I'm trying. Throw me on a bachata tour. I'm ready.
Listen.
Ready.
Oh my God, that would be. You're gonna have to get me on stage for that one.
I'm trying.
Yeah, a bachata tour would be really, really dope. Or even Beso Pluma.
Any Spanish stuff I'm trying to get on right now.
You are? Okay. Oh, maybe that's what's next.
The wishful one is Juan Luis Guerra.
Oh, that's the guy. Yeah. How does it go?
Yeah, more. Oh man, I gotta
so
hear
how's
it.
your salsa game? It's pretty good.
Oh, I'm a beast with salsa.
You're a beast. I don't believe it.
Just you wait.
I don't believe it. We'll have to. You'll have to send in a video of you hitting that salsa move.
Thank you, though. I appreciate this opportunity.
Yes, and Nate, please find this video of him dancing to what is it? Rhythm what? Not Rhythm Nation. Oh, Rhythm is a Dance.
That boy looking on YouTube right now.
Right, in the interwebs. Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, now for the juice. Man, who gets the juice this week? You know, not to get too into this capitalistic system and and how the system can grow and how we can push for representation and how we also need to go beyond representation. But let me put that to the side for a second. It's pretty late here right now, and so I'm kind of getting a little delirious, but the juice this week is going to go to her. Her from Vallejo, California, is going to be, Disney just announced that she is going to be Belle from Beauty and the Beast. And so in the remake. And so I just love that these amazing artists are, and that these stories are being told now and that we're part of them and that our children can see themselves in these stories. And it has to also absolutely do with the fact that we we make up a lot of the consumers of the market. And so shout out to us for pushing for more representation. Shout out to the very beautiful, talented, brilliant, humble, loving, and kind her from Vallejo, California. Shout out to California. Shout out to the Bay. I already know it's going to be dope. It's going to be amazing. And I'm super excited. I have not seen The Little Mermaid, so but I'm excited, and I hope that, I don't know, maybe somebody's niece, maybe my niece, will make me watch these things in the future. Okay. Oh, also, I wanted to shout out, this is a little more my speed, and give the juice, because I already know it's going to be amazing, to Reservation Dogs. Their new season is coming out August 2nd, and so it'll be out by the time this episode comes out on FX, I think. I don't know, Hulu. So that's really, really exciting, because that's actually a dope series that if you have not watched, you should start now binge watching, so that you can get to season, I guess, 3 with them. It's such a beautiful story. It's and it's, I think, stories that you've never seen before, and characters that you've never seen before. So please, I want to give them the juice, because I think they're amazing. For the Rising Ritual this week, I wanted to highlight
just the idea of, um, again, it's hot. So you might get an attitude, you might cop an attitude just like I do most days. And something that is really effective in like getting you to change your energy is what we say in Spanish, barridas. But they're also, they're like sweeps. And so you can sweep your energy, you can sweep your spirit, and you can get the negative stuff off of you. You can get the attitude will have to shift the energy, right? And so it's basically, there are various ways to do this. This is not just a kind of indigenous Mesoamerican tradition. I'm sure it's, also exists in other parts of the world. Typically, you can do this with different herbs, but I'm saying if you catch attitude, you're in the boardroom, you catch attitude, you're, I don't know, in the office, at work, or in the classroom, you can do this. And so you would start at your crown, and you're essentially going to start sweeping yourself. And this is a ritual, very, ancient ritual where you're just sweeping yourself and you're just getting that energy off of yourself all the way to your feet. And then from there, if you want to, that's what you're getting out. You want to call stuff in, you sweep up and you go up to yourself, right? And you say, yep, I am patient. I am loving, I am kind, and whatever it is you're calling into yourself. I'm brilliant, I am stable, I am grounded in my energy. Whatever it is you're calling to yourself, you can call that in. But that other stuff, get that stuff up off of you. That is our rising ritual for the week. I hope you like it. I hope you practice it. It's something that's been very, very effective for my life. And being able to quickly, time is everything. And so you don't always have time to come back the next day and have a better, interaction with somebody. Sometimes you got to continue to show up in the moment. And so doing these barridas, doing these sweeps are really, really helpful to changing the energy both on you and around you. So I hope you guys like it. Let's see. And let us know if you've been trying any of these things. I think that's it. Y'all, we are so grateful for you. Thank you so much for listening to the pod. Like, subscribe, rate, do all the things, share, and